Welcome back to Sports Club. Some great games in week 2 here. Daniel here. It's Bryce. Billy's up in Chi-Town on some work-related business. So you're stuck with us guys for the next 2 episodes.
Yeah, he traveled, so we decided to travel.
That's right. We're on location in New Orleans tonight to recap some of the games from week 2. Let's hop right in for the Thursday night game. Bears-Packers, great game. I thought this was going to be a shootout. I was 100% wrong. It was a defensive battle. Packers did come away with the win 23-10.
In order to be a shootout, the quarterback's got to show up.
That's very true. That helps a lot. Cutler had a quarterback rating of 4.7, and Rodgers had a quarterback rating of 29.3, and that's terrible from quarterbacks that you would assume elite.
Yeah, 34 combined.
That's terrible. Next game, Chiefs and Bills. I'm going to put my foot in my own mouth on this one. I said the Bills were terrible. After the first week, I didn't think they were good at all. They came back and they showed it against the Chiefs team, who has not showed anything
since the first half.
The past 6 quarters.
Yes, the first half against the Falcons, they look good. And that's about it.
Bills, Spiller putting up 170 total yards and 2 touchdowns. That's
star in the making.
That's production right there. That's what you want of the Bills. That is
star
terrific.
in the making.
The battle for Ohio, Browns and Bengals. Bengals come away with this one 34-27. I think what you take away from this, if you're the Browns, is Whedon looked better. Whedon looked better week 2 than he looked week 1.
And the Bengals defense is not good for the Browns to put up points like this.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Browns shot themselves in the foot. 10 penalties for 103 yards. You're not going to win NFL games that way.
Got to get better.
You're not going to do that. Next game, Minnesota at Indianapolis. This was also a very competitive competitive game between 2 very young quarterbacks that look to have a bright future. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said with the Browns, Minnesota had 11 penalties for 105 yards. You just can't do that in the NFL. Yeah. Absolutely, you can't do that. Andrew Luck, when they rushed 4 or less defensive players, when they didn't bring a blitz, he was 15 for 20, 140 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I would have blitzed him.
Yeah, you would think after the first half you would learn that maybe we should blitz this guy a little bit more, put some pressure on him. Next game we got is the Oakland-Miami game. Not a lot of attention paid to this, and I wouldn't think, outside of Oakland and Miami.
Bush looked good.
He did. Reggie Bush looked terrific.
Don't need to say that much.
Yeah. He's already had, I believe Reggie Bush this year has already had 2 touchdowns over 65 yards. Last year he only had 1 of those. We're just now going into week 3, and he already has 2 touchdowns over 65 yards. That's really Miami's bright spot.
And is McFadden going to show up this year?
That's a very good question. He hasn't shown up the first 2 weeks, and if Oakland wants to push forward with Carson Palmer as their quarterback, they need him. They need McFadden to produce. There's no doubt about that. I would call this next game the shocker of the week.
Upset of the week.
Absolute. This might be the upset of the year.
Yes.
Arizona beats New England 20-18, and if I remember a stat correctly, I don't believe New England's kicker has missed a 4th quarter field goal in the past 5 years. I want to say is what I read. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that's what I heard.
And if I remember, New England was favored by 14 points.
I mean, to go in and beat New England in Foxborough with that team,
crazy.
That's insane. I don't understand that. New England also outgained Arizona in offensive yards by 112, somewhere around there. The Patriots have won 45 straight games until this weekend when they outgained their opponents, until the Cardinals rolled into town and showed them something different. And it was Brady, I think, was the main reason. He had 63% overthrow on his yards for 30-plus yards downfield. I mean, he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league, and you don't see that. 63%, that's the highest he's ever had in one game in his entire career as a Patriot. And that offense they have to figure something out.
Yes.
18 points against the Cardinals defense is good. It's
not that good.
It's not holding the Patriots to 18 points.
No.
Next, another terrific NFC game here. Tampa Bay versus the New York Giants. That was one of the most exciting games I have seen in a long time.
Yes. It was good.
Tampa Bay went to tie the game with 1:48 left. Giants drive down, score the winning touchdown, and you talk about a game of two halves. Eli Manning,
Completely different.
exactly, Jekyll and Hyde performance. Eli Manning looked horrible first half, came back and looked terrific the second half.
Did he throw 3 interceptions first half?
Yeah, three INTs the first
Manning's
half.
throwing to the other teams.
Apparently. Manning's the second most passing yards in Giant history with 511. Another big story of this game is the tandem at wide receiver. Hakeem Nicks and Victor Cruz for the Giants. Nicks had 199 yards, one touchdown. Cruz had 179 yards and one touchdown.
Got to guard him if you're going to win.
Yeah, of course, when your quarterback throws for 511 yards, the yards have to go to some wide receiver somewhere. That was another terrific game.
Speaking of turnovers.
Yeah. Baltimore at Philadelphia. Philadelphia just finds ways to win despite turning the ball over time after time after time after time.
9 times in the last 2 games.
I mean, how are they 2-0? How are they 2-0?
No idea.
There's only been 5 teams in the past 50 years to have started the season off 2-0 when they turn the ball over 4 or more times in a game. And the Eagles just keep giving the ball away, and it's
like they're daring the other team to
yeah.
score.
And you would assume out of all the teams in the NFL, Baltimore would be one of those teams that should be able to capitalize on that many turnovers.
Flacco did not look good.
No, in the second half, he looked terrible. He was 8 for 25 on passes of 15 yards down the field in the second half, and he just couldn't throw the ball down the field in the second half. And play action, Vic on play action was 7 for 7 with 150 yards, and that just shows how much respect they have for LaShawn McCoy.
Yes,
because that team is stacked on offense, and if Michael Vick cannot perform on a team like that has that much offensive talent, he's not going to perform anywhere.
He's not.
Another game, New Orleans at Carolina, another NFC East battle.
Where we're at?
Yep, here in the New Orleans lost again.
The defense does not show up.
I agree. They let 35 points to Carolina's good, but they're not that good.
No.
Carolina literally ran all over New Orleans. They had 41 rush attempts for 219 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I believe Newton had 75 of those.
Yep, he had 75, and the other ones combined for the rest. And it was, and Breeze even didn't look good. He was 18 for 36.
He only threw the ball 36 times?
On passes of 10 or more yards downfield.
Okay.
Last season, he was above 60% completion on that. So, the defense has to step up, and Breeze has to become more accurate. Other than the bounty gate and the coach not being there, Sean Payton not being there, the Saints, they have a lot of problems.
Yes.
I honestly didn't see this coming.
Yes.
Next game we're going to hit on Houston at Jacksonville. One of those games that we all kind of saw coming.
Yeah.
Houston won 27-7. The time of possession really is what jumped out at me. 43 minutes to 17 minutes in favor of Houston.
It might be one-sided.
Just a little bit. Next game, Washington and St. Louis. RG3 loses his first game.
Yeah. I'm jumped on the bandwagon of Washington from the get-go. I'm a big RG3 fan. But I hated to see him.
It wasn't his fault, in my opinion. He had 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, all-purpose. The Rams' offense put up 452 yards.
Is it, just to interrupt you right quick, is it safe to say that the NFC West is no longer the weak division?
Yeah.
They
100% agree with that assumption, yeah. The NFC West, you would assume they're all little small fish, but they have some bite.
Yes.
They definitely have some bite. Amendola, the wide receiver for the Rams, 15 receptions for 160 yards.
Wow.
Receivers had a huge weekend. If anybody plays fantasy football, some receivers this weekend had some huge numbers. We can skip Dallas and Seattle. I don't remember. Did they play?
Yes, they did.
Man,
yes, they did. Well, Dallas didn't play. Seattle
Dallas did not show up. Special teams, turnovers, and miscues really hurt us. And after that first touchdown, we just went into a coma.
With the way Murray ran in the first game, why did he not get more attention this game?
I think it was because we just kind of got down early in the game, yeah. And we kind of had that attitude after the Giants game is we're the best in the NFC. and you know, that's the Cowboys' mindset, is they're the best in the NFL. Even if they haven't won a game, they're still the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
I think they had that mindset. Seattle's defense is looking terrific.
Yes, it's scary.
In my opinion right now, Seattle's defense is the second best in the NFC. It's a far cry from your 49ers defense, but in my opinion, Seattle's defense is the second best in the NFC. Next was a good win for the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Jets in their hometown.
The Jets showed up. They're losers.
Yep, that's what we expected from the Jets all offseason.
Yeah.
Jets 10, Pittsburgh 27. I went kind of how we expected it. Ben Roethlisberger had a quarterback rating of 125. That's the highest quarterback rating anybody's had against the Rex Ryan defense when he's been in New York. I mean, it honestly kind of played out like a lot of us assumed it would. We thought the Jets were a fluke against the Bills.
Yeah.
And
Yes, they proved it.
the next one, this is Tennessee versus San Diego. Is it safe to say that Chris Johnson might be a bust in the NFL this year, or is it his offensive line that's not blocking for him?
I think that whole Tennessee team is just ugly.
Yeah.
Ugly.
Yeah, I agree.
And Chris Johnson's a good running back. On any other team, I think he would produce.
Yep, I agree. Rivers, 248 yards, or 284 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. San Diego's...
Are they this good? Is San Diego this good?
That is exactly my question. Are they pretenders? And we'll see this week when they play the Falcons. We got that next for you. Another time of possession stat on this one, 44-16. I mean, that's...
Wow.
That's
the other team have the ball a little bit.
That is disturbing. That is a terrific game. Detroit at the 49ers. We knew the 49ers were going to win this. At least we did.
Yes.
But it was a terrific game. What's 9 games now for Alex Smith?
Yes.
Interception?
The last time he threw an interception was at Baltimore game on Thanksgiving of last year.
And that's against a pretty good defense.
Yes.
So the Lions, from what I hear, the Lions' game set was to go into this trying to run the ball.
Yeah, what was they thinking?
I don't understand. You have Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford, and you're going against the 49ers, who arguably have the greatest run defense we've ever seen in the NFL.
Yes.
I don't understand what their mindset was there. I just don't. I honestly don't understand it. Alex Smith had 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Niners have solidified themselves as the best team in the NFL, in my opinion.
Play their game.
Yep.
That's all they got to do.
Yep, and they've played 2 quality opponents and beaten both of them.
2 last year playoff teams.
Yep. One on the road and one at home. I mean, they're number 1 in the power rankings, no doubt. The Monday night game, which started out as a blowout, but ended very, very tight.
Yes, but once again, it was analysts of NFL saying it's Manning not showing up. It wasn't the Falcons.
They gave them no credit.
Yeah, the Falcons look good without one of their top defensive backs not in the game.
Yep.
They picked him off 3 times in the first quarter.
Yeah, in the first quarter. And I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying, "Oh, Manning's this is a fluke for Manning. Yada yada yada. He's not going to do this for the rest of the season." I looked up a stat. Manning has thrown 3 interceptions in 4 of his last 9 regular season games. That's almost half of his last regular season games. He's thrown 3 or more interceptions in. That's not a quarterback that I want at the helm of my team.
No.
That's not what I want. Roddy White and Matt Ryan, they hooked up again. 35 touchdowns since 2008. It's the most touchdowns for a pair.
It's going to be a lot more.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot
I know
more.
a lot of people are big on Julio Jones, as am I. He's going to be a terrific young receiver, but Roddy White and Matt Ryan have that chemistry, man. It's dangerous. And we're getting some news in now. Oh, Roger Goodell has just came over. You need to go see him immediately about some bounty-related stuff.
Man, I knew being in New Orleans was
He just got done with Vilma, and he wants to see you in his office immediately.
Dang.
Yeah. But for Bryce and Daniel just left. He's let's see what Roger Goodell sends down to the helm for a sports club. Billy's up in Chi-Town. We'll catch you next episode.